everyone, welcome back. It's Sue. I'm following on from a video that I've just done previously, and it should be just the video that is just prior to this one, and it was to do with the April Alchemy Challenge hosted by myself, Brygida at Clear Black Creations, and Melanie at The Treasured Page. So every Saturday for the month of April there has been a video using items to dye papers and fabrics using natural materials, so roots and plants, and I did spices and coffee. Mine didn't work out the way that I thought it would, but I've produced this beautiful fabric. And I thought I'm going to make something with this. Now, in the previous video, I said that there would be a question that you would need to answer to go into the draw to win a pack of papers. So I've decided what I'm going to do is make a little folio using this fabric, and I will cut down some papers and put that all in the folio. So this will be the item that you can win. So the question that you will need to answer is, what spices did I use in my dyeing process from the previous video? So if you can answer those, you will go in the draw to win this. This is opened internationally as well, so anyone can enter. And then I will look at drawing the winner within the next week of this video going up. Okay. So what I'm thinking is I like to use in between my journal covers, I like to use, what do you call this, watercolor paper. Now I don't use an overly expensive one. This is just a cheap one. It's more just to give the cover a little bit of substance rather than having a completely soft cover. So I'm going to do the same sort of thing for this folio that I'm thinking of doing. I'm just trying to work out which fabric I want on the front and which fabric I want on the inside. So I'm just having a little bit of a play because I'm going to be adding something to the cover. So this will be the front cover, and I'll just have a look at this other piece. I think I'll use this one on the front. Alrighty, so basically what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go round this whole sheet of A3 watercolor paper and distress and ink it. Because I'm going to sew these as layers, you probably will see some of this, so I want it to sort of all blend in. I don't want it to be all white, so I'll just go and do that. So rather than ink all my way around here, what I've decided, just so that it's darker and more grungy, I'm actually just going to use this brown iridescent spray that I've got from Kaiser Craft, and I'm just going to put some on my glass mat here. I think I'm in frame here. And I'm just going to run the watercolor paper through it basically. So I'm not even spraying, I'm just pouring an amount onto my glass mat here, and I'm just going to run. So see how it's more grungy. I don't care if it's all dripping. I'll probably just even run my fingers over that, so just so that it all gets in. Okay, so I've got one hell of a mess here. I probably should have put gloves on, and I know I've got fingerprints all over this, but as I said, you're not going to see that. That's all going to be hidden by the fabric. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop that out in the sun actually to dry, because that is quite damp, the edges there. So I want that to dry before I actually put it with my project. So I'll just go and do that. Okay, so that is dry enough. It's still a little bit damp on the edges, but it's dry enough to work with. And then I just can't remember which side I was going to use. I think I was going to put this on the front and the other one on the inside. So basically what I'm going to do is just glue glue this whole A3 sheet and glue my fabric to that bit by bit. And then I'll do the same on the other side with the other fabric, I think. Just thinking how I'm going to do this. And then, yes, and then I'm just going to sew around the whole lot. What I'll do is once I've glued this on, I'll just trim because I don't particularly want that selvage. Actually, I might just trim that off now. Just going to snip and tear that. I'm just still thinking which way I want this to be. I'm going to leave it like that, I think. And I might even just tear this edge here. Just so we've got more of the size that we want. And we'll do the same here. Okay, so that's more of the, you can see there's a little bit hanging over, but that's okay. While I'm going, I may as well do the fabric for the inside as well. Now with the inside, I'm not going to need it to go right down to the bottom because I'm going to be folding some of it up for pockets. Because I just think I can utilize the fabric. I'll tear this one here. It'll all make sense in a minute. I'm probably all over the place and you're not sure what I'm doing, but it will all make sense shortly. I think I am just going to take it right to the bottom. This hasn't torn overly straight. Let's see if I can tear it straight. That's a bit better. Okay, so we've got the inside and the outside. So I'm going to glue this on, and for this I just use a glue stick, and I don't mind if it's even a little bit bunchy once it's all put together, because I want it to look quite grungy and knocked about. So I'm just going to glue section for section and then put my fabric down. Okay, so I've glued all that down. I want to sew around all the edges to secure that down. And then I'm also going to, I want to add some little bits and pieces of grungy paper, possibly to the front. So what this is going to look like is, this will be, I'll just fold it up for you. So it's just going to be a little pocket on the inside. And I'm thinking I want to do it three folded 3 ways. So if I bring this in, I don't know, I'm just going to fold it in 3s basically. I'm just going to have a bit of a guess. So this will be the front, and then this will just fold in there like that. So just something like that. And it's just going to be like a little ephemera folio, I guess, grungy ephemera folio. Okay, so I just need to have a bit of a think how I want to do this. Do I want that to go over there like that? No, I'm going to tuck that in there, and then I'll put a closure of some sort on the front. So the way the coffee grounds have ended up sitting on the paper, on the fabric, sorry, and looking like that, I saw a video, and look, honestly, it was a while ago, I can't remember where it was, where this lady used incense sticks to burn paper. Sounds very scary, I know, but I'm just going to go and get some water and some towel and the incense sticks, and I'll show you what I mean. And I want to layer some of the papers, the burnt papers that I'm going to do, onto the cover of this folio, and then I'm going to sew it all, and then I'll put the lining on the inside. So I'll just go and get all that ready, and I'll be back. Okay, so I've got my supplies together. Now, I haven't done this before. So I've got a bowl of water as a backup, because we're going to be burning paper basically. And I've pretty much cleared everything away that can catch fire. So I've got a tub of water, little pot of water just in case. I've got also a damp cloth to put on top that you can just lay on top of what you're burning. Now, I don't burn incense sticks normally because they give me headaches, they're too strong. But I don't mind just putting a couple of sticks behind the cupboard in the bathroom. Not burnt, but they just emanate a nice fragrance. So I have these, they're French vanilla. So I'm going to just use one of those. And I've got a lighter. Now, I'm just going to, actually I'd probably need a tray to put my incense stick on when I'm not using it, so I'll just grab that. Okay, I think I'm organised now. Tray to put the stick on, wet cloth, backup water, lighter for the incense stick. I'm going to move this over to the side here, and I've got all these, I've got a little folder here of all these papers that I've dyed over time, and they're just grungy and they've stuck to one another, but I've just kept it thinking that I want to try some sort of grunge at some stage. So I thought these might come in handy to put it on this little folio. So, you know, just like all the different colors and the where the coffee's sort of accumulated in one area. So that's what I think I'm going to use. I was hoping I might have had some actual card stock weight, but I don't. So we're just going to run with what I've got. So I'm just going to pull a few pieces out that I like the look of. I'm just going to tear some of these down to smaller pieces. I'm going to leave that one as it is. And Now I'll leave this one as it is. I love that one as well because I may not use that in this project, but we'll burn them and see what happens. So fingers crossed, guys, this works out. So basically it's just letting the whole burn just do its own thing through the paper. So we need to just light the incense stick and get a nice red glow happening. Okay, you can see we've got a nice red glow there. And basically it's just poking your paper. I'm very nervous. Can you tell I'm shaking? So as I said, I haven't done this before. And you can see it growing. So you can just blow it. You can see it and it will move. And then that's when your wet cloth comes into play. So you can just pop it on your wet cloth and it stops the burning process. Now, you can also, I'm just putting all the ashes there, you can also help it along by pushing the paper and making the size or the shape that you particularly want. And if you blow it, it makes it go faster. So you can see there, now obviously it's a bit messy because you've got ashes, so I'm just going to wipe that. So you can see there it's burnt whole. So it's just adding layers to your paper. Now I'm not sure whether this has gone out now. And I want more so the darker parts of this paper to possibly use in my projects here. So I'm just going to go along and just burn a few more pieces, and then we'll come back and see what we've got. Okay, that was so much fun. It's a bit of a worry, isn't it? Saying it's fun playing with fire, but how can I show you this on something? I'll just tip this white piece just to give you a bit of an idea. So it's just, yeah, I don't know, I may even go back and burn some more. I just burnt a few pieces. This one I got a bit, let it get away from me a bit, but I don't mind it. So I've just done, you know, just a few pieces for now, because I'm not sure exactly how I want to decorate this. So the cover of this, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to decorate it with some of these burnt bits and pieces and have some layers underneath. I want to put a focal point on the front, so I was thinking of maybe adding one of these snapshots or found relatives from Tim Holtz. These are, I've got these in my shop, so I'll put the link down below for those. I'm going to go with the snapshots and see what we've got in there first. So I think I like this photo, and I'm just going to distress it a little bit. And I'll ink it. Probably going to layer some lace or something. I'm being really, really rough with the distressing. So I've just really distressed that photo. Quite a bit there. And then I'm just going to add some ink. Okay, so I've distressed that photo a little bit, and I've just, because I've added water, I want it to sort of try and dry, and I'm hoping that it'll come up and look like it's been water damaged. I've grabbed some, these are some fabric and lace bits and pieces that I have coffee dyed. They're nice and grungy. So I thought I might layer some of these on the front cover here as well, and any stitching that I'm going to do now, and then the fabric will cover, the fabric on the inside will cover any of the stitched pieces, if that makes sense. All right, let me just pop those aside. James has just made me a coffee as well. Cheers. Just push that out of the way because we're not burning anything at the moment. I thought that I might bring some red thread into it as well. So I'm just going to open this, and I'm basically just going to be decorating this front piece here. But if it goes over to the other side, it doesn't, that's okay. I'm just trying to have a look. Probably won't, because I'm thinking I'm probably going to cut that because the photo's only about this size here. And I just thought, you know, if I can add some of this lovely red thread in there as well. So I'm going to cut that one in half, I think. I love this piece here. And just have a little bit of a play with some layering while I'm waiting for that photo to dry. I'm really struggling here, guys, because this is really not something that I do very often. I'm struggling with how to put it all together. So I'm still waiting for that photo to dry, and I'm just thinking that I want something underneath that burnt paper there. So do I want some book page, just so that that can be nice if I could find a word actually. And stick it under one of the burnt holes. Okay. So we could have Margaret, we could say, because there's a lady and a gent on that photo. I just like the way that this layered though. So maybe I might need to burn one of these holes a little bit bigger. Make it where was that now? I saw here, and it ended up being Margaret was lonely. That's not what the whole sentence is, but that's just sort of fits in there. Burn this a little bit more. Cut that bit to sit underneath. I'll just cut that, and then cut this bit down here as well. And I'm just thinking I might highlight that with a black pen. Just sort of adds a little bit of contrast there then, doesn't it? So I think I'm going to glue that down. I quite like that. I'm just going to do it. As I said, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't normally do like a grunge sort of style. So we'll just have to run with it and see what we come up with. So I've just stuck that down. And that's actually given that paper a little bit more substance there as well to sit on that front cover. I think I want it to sit there because I want to try and catch it in the stitching on the edge. That's what I'm thinking. So something like that maybe. So the photo has dried. It hasn't I was hoping that the water on the photo, because it's got a little bit of a satin sheen to it, it's sort of just pooled on there. But you can see there's some little bits of ink that has pooled in some of the water, and that it's sort of softened up the edges to make it look a little bit more grungy, I think. Anyway, as grungy as I'm probably going to get. And I think I'm going to use that, and I do like the contrast of the white around it as well. I don't mind how that's looking. Do I want to add more layers? I've got this crochet sari silk here that it's all really scrunched up. I don't know whether I want to add that too, even. That. I think I don't mind that actually. I might even just sew that onto the bottom of the photo. So I ended up sewing that sari silk on there, and I've added a little bit of thread that came off the edges here, just to give it a little bit more texture. I'm liking how that's looking so far. I think I'm going to add some red stitching. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm not actually going to add it through the whole cover. I'm probably going to add a couple of stitches just to this saying here. So what I might do is I might layer this, glue it to the pieces as they sit here. I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to tip that over, and I'm going to add some glue and glue that down to that. I'm quite liking that. So I'm going to add some of this red stitching just to sort of make that pop a bit. don't know, guys. I don't know whether that looks funny or not. I just so I just really wanted to highlight that saying that I've put, or those couple of words that I've put underneath there. So I've just put a couple of cross stitches in red there, and then I've just associated that with this lady here, who we're calling Margaret. And then I think that's the cover. I'm pretty happy with that. That's my first attempt at anything that's real grunge, and I'm pretty happy with that. So what I think I'm going to do is just glue that down to this cover here, and then I'm going to go around. I'm actually going to put, I just need to think here, get my head straight. I'm going to put just some fabric down to this folded piece here. So I'm going to glue that to that, and then I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew all around the edges. Okay guys, I had a little bit of fun with the sewing machine. I've just done really messy work here. I hope you can see that. And my machine played up here, but I like how it's done all the uneven stitching. I've added some tufts of, let me just get some of this stuff out of the way. I've added some tufts of red and brown thread. I'm just going to trim them off a little bit. I'm just going to leave the majority of it just hanging. I'll just trim it a little bit. I've got bits where the machine started and stopped and played up, and so I'm going to keep all that in there. And I didn't really even give much thought to where I placed the tufts of thread. Some of it might be over the top, so whoever wins this, they can trim it back as much as they like. So that's basically the cover. And then, so I've put some tufts here so that you can see that on the inside as well. Okay. So these edges will all just fray. They can be pulled a little bit more and frayed. And you can see this is where, in some places, you can see where the why I inked the edges of that card, so that that's not white, and that sort of all ties in with the whole theme of things. Okay, so that is the folio. I love it. So not a bad attempt for my first real attempt at grunge. I'm going to sew these just so that they stay in place, and these in here I'm going to leave. I'm just going to leave open, I think. So we'll just go and do a bit of stitching down there. So those edges are sewn down. Oh, I love it. And I love how these are all loose. I've glued a couple of the pieces down, but I love how that's sort of all free there. This is all just hanging. And then that's the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some bits and pieces of grungy. I might even put some of these burnt papers in here. I'll put some bits of fabric in here as well. I'm going to put the other bit of that lace doily that I've got on the front in there, and I think what I'll do is I'll put some of the cards, some of the paper that we did in the previous April alchemy video. I'll cut some of those down to fit in here, and I'll just fill this with some coffee dyed and spice dyed papers. And then I'm going to probably just tie it off with some, I'll probably get even some of this and tie it off with that. But I am pretty happy with that. So if you would like to win this, all you need to do is answer the question, what spices did I use in the April Alchemy 23 challenge? And if you answer correctly, you will go into the draw to win this. It is open internationally. So it's just a little grungy ephemera holder. And hopefully one of you will get some enjoyment out of that. So I really loved putting this together. I think I'll probably have another go at some more grunge. I do have that grunge journal that I did show you, but I can see where I can actually grunge it up even more. So all right guys, I am going to leave it. Please answer the question if you want to enter into the competition, and I'll just show you up close. So that's the front, and as I said, I will fill it up, and I'll tie it closed or do a closure of some sort on there. So all right guys, thanks for joining me in April Alchemy 23, and thanks to Mel and to Brygida for their participation in it as well. If you haven't already done so, please head over to their channels and have a quick squiz at it. They've had some beautiful results. So thanks so much for watching, and thanks for joining in, and until next time guys, take care, and I hope you get a little bit of creative time in. See you soon. Bye bye.